how it plays out.
I think it's also important to mention last split. I mean, I know I talk about last year a lot, but when it comes to players like Jimmy and like Gemini, I mean, they were just so good last season.
Yeah.
Gemini's best champ by far was Vi.
Yeah, this is such a strong power pick at the moment as well. We usually don't even see it make it.
Yeah. You don't have tools
drafts
to deal with it. The Xin Zhao has the ult to be able to split up the team fight. You have Renekton, who doesn't really care if he gets Vi ulted most of the time. Hold up, Orca, though. He's actually going to get ignited. There is a flash available for Eminem. He's going to choose not to use it. In fact, it is going to be a summoner advantage here for the side of DCG even, as Orca does have to cancel his back. And so bot lane going to be made a little bit harder for Tide, especially after Eminem manages to find a pretty decent chunk onto Tide's health as well.
Yeah, Frank's starting this game out very aggressively, and Eminem looking for more. He's not going to find Orca there anytime soon, though. It's going to be very late to lane, and Tide is going to start Q and hopefully get some of these melee minions, but I think Kaiwing is just going to zone him off. So both junglers planning to path bot again, it looks like.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is just kind of how the meta's developed, right? You almost have to.
Yeah.
Feels unavoidable for you to not go to the bot side. I mean, yes, Renekton has gank set up, but you're against a K'Sante. You just should be getting ahead as the Renekton. Not as ahead as last game, admittedly, but ahead nonetheless. This is another lane that Cascada should feel pretty good in. Surprised he didn't go Arcane Comet into the Ahri.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Ahri can kind of dodge out of it, but the command dissonance does kind of make it a lot harder. I mean, already seeing a difference. At level 2 last game, Jiang just walked up to Taco and claimed half of his health.
Yep. And DCG not really able to walk up to their wave. Shove in favor of Frank just by virtue of Orca not starting out in the lane. And Kaiwing is going to have his Ignite up before it's really relevant. You know, by the time it is needed.
Yeah.
So DCG just willing to give up the CS. 665 going for an earlier play this game. This is, and Gemini is just standing there waiting for him.
Just aware.
Yeah, just knows he's coming. Very impressive.
And Jiang's actually got a health advantage, although Color Meek here will change that.
Yeah, very tense in the mid lane. Honestly, both mid laners pretty low. One bad trade from either.
Nice Cascada max range on the Orianna.
Yeah, minion DMAT helping Jimmy get this shove in. The charm makes sure Cascada isn't going to be trying to freeze or anything crazy. Bit of sustain in Ahri's kit as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Gemini gonna claim the bot crab and maybe run up for the top one, but he's still got his red buff up. And maybe doesn't want to leave his bot lane isolated.
Yeah, I think 65 probably just going to go up to the top side now. I think this is a win, obviously, for the side of Frank. It's while small, just ensuring now that 65 cannot be on this side of the map means that your bottom lane is going to have to play a whole lot more scared, while Jiang is never really intending to have push in this lane.
Yeah.
And so he will just be fine at his tower, unless somehow 65 can find a dive. And admittedly, this trade here that has been found by Taco does open up the opportunity to, as Jiang is now very, very low, and 65, as you see on your screen here, is pathing into the top side.
Yeah, he could be in trouble here. He actually has flash.
Yeah, I was going to say. Oh, nice dodge. Taco does a flash. Pathmaker not going to come through.
Ooh.
Not quick enough on the reactions. It means that it is going to be Taco claiming himself that first blood up in the top side onto Jiang.
Yeah, super clean by Taco and 665. Just stun locking Jiang. He doesn't even get a chance to flash there, really. The moment he gets stunned.
Jiang is foregoing his CS, and yeah, Taco is going to be dead. There is no way out of this now, and that's the kill for Taco. It was first blood, so it feels pretty good, but it is immediately answered back.
Yeah, Jiang loses some creeps to the tower, so Taco probably willing to TP up to maintain his advantage. Yeah, he will now, and Orca's made his way up here to fight for these Void Grubs. Kaiwing this time a little bit slow, but they've generated a massive advantage in the bot lane. Yeah,
he just opted for a recall, and it does make sense because you are just far ahead in the mid lane, lost priority in the top lane, and you always are going to by virtue of Having a Cassante versus Renekton, yeah. And so giving over the first 3 Void Grubs never really matters. And in this meantime, Gemini going to be able to find himself a dragon.
Yeah, even in the matchups where you're picking them to counter the Renekton, you still don't really want to fight around Renekton, you know, at these levels.
Yeah.
Still just going to bring more than any other top laner in the game to these kinds of fights.
And especially at level 6 that he just ticked over to. Now Cascada doing the same as well.
Meanwhile, Frank trading the dragon, though, and catching this wave in time.
I do worry about Jiang in the team fights by, obviously, virtue of not having the ghost. It's going to be very hard for him to stick onto a target.
Yeah.
It does mean that he is a lot safer in his lane, but yeah, just loses quite a bit of power.
A lot of kill pressure and, you know, quite a bit of survivability too.
Yeah.
Much longer cooldown on the flash as well.
I think 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I think nothing to scoff at. As my good friend Shock says, nothing to sneeze at.
So maybe a setup for a bot play here by Frank, and they have all the vision control down here.
Jimmy in. Not level 6 here on the Vi. Doesn't feel very likely that much happens, especially as that charm does go wide.
Yeah, nice dodge from Cascada. He is very low on mana, though.
Yeah.
Usually on the Orianna, you
Jimmy's health bar. What has happened here? Charm! Oh, we're going to see a repeat. Cascada is going to live.
Yep, and he needs to get out of here.
Bolo for Cascada in the mid lane.
Okay, pushing, and meanwhile, Gemini has taken 665's red buff, but you're always happy to help your mid laner get their wave in. Make sure there's no Vi there to pick him off. You're going to see the replay. And
nice
it's a really nice, dodge on this charm. Gemini just has to leave. He isn't level 6 on the Vi yet, and I didn't think Cascada would have mana for ulti or much else, but he actually just has QW ult here and follows up this kill onto Jimmy. And yeah, flash Q.
Jimmy had the option to leave too, I think, if he had to just walk the other way instead of looking for an auto attack. Maybe he thought he had kill pressure, not quite.
Yeah, also just has his flash up. Not the fastest combo from an Orianna, flash Q.
Yeah, close. But unfortunately for Frank, no cigar is an early lead now gathered by DCG.
Yeah. And it's off the back of Taco and Cascada winning their lanes.
Nice path maker there is going to ensure that Jung is going to win out that short little trade between these two top laners. And obviously we're seeing it here. Taco very far ahead in the CS.
Yeah, but he's not taking the tower in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like Jiang was doing.
Has got 2 of those tower plays though by the looks of things. So
yeah, honestly doing okay. And maybe another matchup that we're going to see Aja exclusively be the person able to play. Because he didn't fall nearly this far behind. This is 30 CS.
Yeah. He was like 5 CS maybe.
Yeah. And then destroyed team fights on the champ too.
Just was the strongest champion on the Rift anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're expecting that out of Jung in this one with how the lane has gone.
Yeah.
Just so far behind.
Yeah, going to be underfarmed. And also Aja got to just fight a very, very behind Xayah. There is a pretty behind Xayah this game, but not nearly as behind as Feng was.
Yeah, I was going to say, in fairness for Frank, while you are slightly behind, I mean, 1.5k gold is fairly substantial, of course, but you still have the stronger AD carry, and would I prefer a stronger Renekton or a stronger Kai'Sa? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the Kai'Sa.
Yeah.
But of course, you've got to stay on pace, and for the early stage of the game, you're never competing with this Renekton as the Kai'Sa. So there is a time frame in which Renekton is going to be much more effective. It is harder to bring Renekton down to the likes of a Dragon fight, because that is going to forgo a little bit of his power in that lane.
Yeah, we're used to seeing this out of Orianna's now. You just use the ultimate for a chunk on your lane.
Oh, God. Oh, Void Seeker actually goes wide there from Eminem, which might have been the difference maker between a very dead Tide and a very not dead Tide, but
yeah, he still does have his ulti on the Xayah, so wasn't really at risk of getting Vi ulted or anything. Yeah, scary face check, but gets away with it. It feels like DCG can only face check in these games. Kaiwing has the vision completely locked down every game.
Yeah.
Vision score perfectly fine for Orca, but it feels like just where it matters, Kaiwing has vision for his team.
Yeah, and Rakan always has a bit of an inflated vision score because he takes the zombie ward, so...
Yeah, true. It's probably the zombie ward.
That does inflate the stats, just that. Honestly, not even just a little bit. An insane amount.
Very useful rune, honestly.
Oh, yeah, extremely. It just means you get an extra ward every time you take one of theirs.
Yeah.
Obviously very easy to take down, but you're still going to see them taking it down.
Yeah. Frank on the Dragon now. We'll see if DCG decide to contest. Orca's a little late here, and it's just...
Oh, okay. 65 is going to commit the flash. Quickness coming through, and the grand entrance is going to be very good, but Eminem coming in. Jimmy and claiming one kill. Eminem claiming one for himself too, and the Spirit Rush has been reset. Look for this charm. Look for this charm. The charm's not even going to need it. And there's going to be Kaiwing coming in, finding the CC, and the miss on the attack shockwave, and what was that? Jimmy unable to get the kill on the bot side as well. Tide going down.
Oh,
DCG, they were firmly in control, and a flash attempt at stealing the Dragon from 665 tips this game absolutely on its head.
Yeah, a completely unnecessary attempt to steal. You're kind of fine with them taking a second Dragon there.
Jung finds his way here onto Taco, and from bad to worse, as it looks like Taco might be going down. The flash may get him just out here, as he's actually positioning pretty aggressively.
Oh, I don't think they knew where he went.
No, they don't. Yeah, he had two bushes he could have flashed into, and they chose the wrong one. Jung wisely not going to walk into that bush and likely lose his life, but that was a very close call. Let's see what happened in the bot lane.
Tide again, just in this tri-brush, trying to get to the fight. Uses his ulti early, but Eminem's able to flash after him and finish off the kill. Looking good on the Xayah again. Kaisa, sorry. Jimmy in. Allowed Ahri for the third game in a row. Off to a better start than the previous game. Well, I guess he got soloed this time, but that was so clean in the mid lane. Dodging the Ori ulti and landing that Q.
Yeah. Struggle to find words for it. But yeah, again, another good showing from Jimmy, and outside of the, I guess, mistake early on into the game, and Eminem doing perfectly fine once more on this Kai'Sa. You know, a lot of people hate when it's just the Kai'Sa Xayah meta, but I think that's my favorite meta to watch in terms of early carries.
Yeah, they're
because
very
there
impactful.
is so much outplay potential on both of them. You know, like Kai'Sa can just pull off some incredible stuff. Xayah as well with the Feather Storm, dodging a crucial cooldown and just ripping her on back. I think it's fun to watch personally.
Taco's not going to take a 10-minute tower, but looking on track to take this tower very soon. Though he has to fight Jiang off this wave now. He's holding the wave. And Eminem item completed. And a pickaxe versus no item yet for Tide.
Well, valiant effort there. That was a bit of a prayer.
So, and Malignant's finished now. So item advantages across the board for, you know, everyone but Taco and Orca, who somehow has his item completed, staying ahead of the support quest.
Gemini, I mean, who do I favor in a fight right now? I think it's hard to say. Probably should be DCG, but I think it's Frank.
Yeah,
just
based on execution,
is so much stronger than Tide is right now. It's not even comparable.
Yeah, there's always the X factor of the Orianna, right?
Yeah.
But when you're already kind of praying for big Orianna ults at this point, the game is going to be very difficult. You know, usually it's Frank praying for the big Orianna ults.
Yeah, hold up. Jung, actually, he might be getting aggressive here. I'm not sure he was going to go in on that, and probably shouldn't have, considering the ward was there, but...
Yeah, Taco has item advantage.
Oh, hold up. Eminem's here. 65 does pop that ultimate, and he is going to be taken down. There is nothing he can do. He's locked up. Eminem going to claim himself a third, and on track to compete with his 12 kills of last game now is Eminem here on the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, 665 caught out again. Goes down very quickly. Gemini not even using the Vi ult there. So no hope for DCG to really do anything about this Rift Herald.
No.
And Yeah, both mid laners just farming away. Orianna should outscale, but Jimmy has looked so good on this Ahri.
Yeah, this one's feeling a bit rough. I mean, especially with how it started, right? DCG were so comfortably ahead.
Yeah, they made a nice
one
play
disaster play. Well, I guess it was multiple disaster plays all at the same time. And you see there, really, I mean, exactly what I was saying. It was just, they were ahead the entirety of the early game, up over 1k gold for many parts of it. And then one bad play, and all of a sudden the gold lead is just exactly reversed almost. In fact, extended even further.
Yeah, and similar score lines every game. Instead of 4-1, we're 6-2 this time.
I'm surprised by the redemption this game.
Yeah, he rushed it Bard game too. Engaged.
Walker with a nice knock up there. Obviously he has the battle dance to get himself out again. Gemini might be getting knocked up. Quickness come through. And it is going to be the cease and desist in response here, but the flash forward for 665 once again. But Jimmy's here to answer. Redemption coming through. It's going to top up those health bars. Jimmy going forward though. Charm connects. 65 once again taken so low, and M&M not quite with the ability to use that killer instinct, and all of a sudden though it's not even going to be needed as 665 does go down, as does Taco, as does Orca. Now Chris Carter is going to be the next victim. If anything lands, they're not going to need to. Eminem is able to find that killer instinct, is able to find that kill, and all of a sudden it's a 10-2 in favor of Frank with a 4k gold lead and a third dragon now on the board.
Yeah, Gemini using the Vi ulti as an escape in that fight essentially, and maybe a bit of frustration out of 665. Flashes in after him. Doesn't finish off the kill and goes down pretty quickly to a charm from Jimmian. And yeah, Frank have been completely dominant in these skirmishes and team fights all series long. It looks like a pretty good go onto the Vi here, in all honesty. Orca dodges out of everything and lands the engage onto him. This Vial was very strong to help him escape, and 665 flashes on, but Kaiwing peels his jungler very well. And Jimmian again in the fog, just waiting for the Xin Zhao ult to run out.
Yeah, and the re-engage, right? Kaiwing just...
Yeah. And the Orianna ult just goes completely wide here. Not catching anyone on the side of Frank.
Oh, we got a Drifter. Nice.
Yeah, M&M takes out the mid tower. Maybe they go for another. Not much of a wave.
Alright, we're not going to drift this time. It always feels a bit scary. Hold up. Taco on a flank. We're trying to find our way here on to Jimmy, and we certainly do. He's knocked up. He's shut down. 6-5 claiming that one. Kyming as well. Likely to be taken out. Taco very much on him. He does get a bit of a speed up of 6-5, getting the slow off. It does mean that this Rail will be taken out. And now Gemini, Jiang, and M&M backs against the wall in this 3v5, but there's no Baron. There's no real objective. Just as mid lane. Are they able to protect it? I think they might even be able to with just M&M and Gemini, or
very
maybe
risky.
Yeah, no, they're not going to be willing to. And it is going to be at least the mid lane tower found.
Yeah.
Okay, 65 did turn around really quickly there. I was a bit scared that he was going to charge on into that inner tower.
Yeah, 2 tower bounties and 2 shutdowns picked up for DCG. Is going to shrink the gold lead a bit. 2k in the lead for Frank, but the big thing is these 3 dragons, honestly, as well as a very strong Kaisa. M&M does not have his flash. Will have it probably for this dragon fight.
Yeah, it'll be close. Maybe not, actually.
Yeah,
it
it's hard to tell.
But it's not only M&M. You see there on the total gold, Jimmian as well. Second strongest person on the Rift. It is Chris Carter and Taco closely behind, but M&M pretty far ahead of the rest of the pack. And it's really shown here. And, 4-0-3 on the Kaiser. He's got his 2 items. He's almost halfway through his third. And we saw him really come online at about the 3rd item last game. You can expect the same out of this one, and maybe even earlier, as this Ocean Soul likely to be picked up or fought for before that 3rd item's power spike for the Kaiser.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to fight that if you're DCG. And it's going to come down.
Position to fight it at all.
Yeah, it's just going to come down to a Rakan Orianna combo, really. If Frank allow it, then DCG can definitely win these fights. But yeah, it's going to be a tall order. Very mobile champs on the side of Frank. And a lot of disruption that's not going to let you just, waltz in with the Rakan. And Jimmian uncontested on this tower. Maybe 665 can run up, but there's so much vision in this jungle to guard him.
Yeah, likely will be taken out. Although Cascada now here. And this 6 Void Grubs never really did a whole lot this game. Well, so far at least.
Yeah, it helped them take mid tower, I guess, but
Yeah.
Frank didn't even end up contesting it.
It is only 3k gold. I mean, we're talking like it's all doom and gloom.
It's just because of how much better Frank of team fought.
Yeah. Oh, hold
Taco.
up, though. We say that Taco's going to find his way onto Eminem and is going to force out that cleanse, and the Void Seeker does miss Taco, but manages to connect onto Orca in the back line. Stun coming through there from Kaiwing as he is dismounted. Kaiwing is going to be able to survive. He's actually maybe looking to fight still as Cascada maybe caught out. He's surviving at least for a little bit here as with the Orianna, with the Seraphs, does mean that he does get a bit of a shield, and Gemini as well, quite low. Jimmian does use that 3rd charge of the Spirit Rush. Killer Instinct down, so no real re-engage available for Eminem.
Yeah, biggest takeaway from that fight is that Tide lost both his flash and his cleanse.
Yeah.
That is going to be the most relevant thing there. Taco
John,
did hold on to his.
Your position is known. Nice Pathmaker, though, as Taco. Ooh, it's a close call, and the flash all out. Oh, Taco managing to flash himself out of harm's way, but Jiang,
Yeah.
what an almost heroic play there to close in the gap for this Renekton and
think
try and pick that one up.
It still ultimately is a very impactful flash to trade. Cassante doesn't use flash all that well, and Renekton needs his flash if he's ever going to get onto this now cleanseless Kaisa. So you're perfectly happy with that trade, considering Eminem just took a mid-tier 2 in the meantime.
Yeah. And it is now 10 seconds on this Ocean Soul. Teleport, you can see on your screen coming through the bot side is Jimmy, but Taco's there. Oh, he has the Verdant Barrier.
Yeah, Taco loses half his HP.
Yeah, Taco does lose it. He does have teleport, so, I mean, it feels like he should back and look for that, although
665.
maybe he doesn't have the time to, as we do see 665 getting caught out there in the jungle. It's now 4v5. Ocean Soul will be the prize for Frank for that catch there onto the jungler of DCG. And is over in the bot side, Jimmy and forcing out Dominus does lose Spirit Rush, so Ari going to be a little bit weaker, but now with the Ocean Soul, all odds stacked up against DCG as they are very close to being sent to that lower bracket. They have to pull out something here. 4k gold is the difference, but that doesn't tell the story. There's an Ocean Soul. This Kaisa is at least 2 of that K of gold.
Yeah, I mean, almost 2 items, 2 entire items ahead is Eminem on at 22 minutes. The Zaya doesn't even have 2 items.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Jiang is completely unkillable this game with an Ocean Soul too. No one can take him down. It's going to take Tide so long to get to that point.
Taco once again walks back to lane, gets hit by a charm, and he is sent packing.
Yeah. So hard for the Renekton to do anything in this game. So much CC on the side of Frank, so much mobility to stay away from him, and, you know, cleanse and flash on Kaisa. Cleanse is down, but still hard to imagine he's going to get stunned by this Renekton.
Yeah, we're going to have to find an immaculate Rakan Orianna engage.
Yeah.
Now, I'll see if you get the reference, but there was one Worlds where a certain team was playing Rakan with Orianna.
Yeah, SKT.
Yeah, right, you got it. That is possible. They were down like 11k gold.
Yeah, and they just met them mid for an honorable 5v5. The problem with DCG this game is
they don't have a Twitch.
Well, they're not getting to these fights in one piece at all. It's always someone just dying, getting picked off or chunked very early. And that is probably due to just the vision.
Ooh. Hold up. Kaiwing getting a bit too ahead of himself as he is going to get stunned up and taken out. It's a 4v5, but this time it's DCG favored as Gemini trying to protect his AD carry. Eminem with a nice Killer Instinct gets himself over that wall. It's going to be Gemini most likely paying the price for the sins of this AD carry. It's now going to be on the top side. Jiang likely to go down. All out comes through. Is he able to find time? Pathmaker will mean he does secure the kill there. And Jimmy, and even with the Void Seeker, Eminem with fast fingers, fast reaction, almost helping out Jimmy to find one back. Cascada now, they're trying to find the kill. It's Jimmy and Eminem versus 4 members of DCG. And at the moment, I'm kind of liking the odds of the Frank's carries.
Yeah, both the carries alive and full HP thanks to the Ocean Soul. So much used to kill the other members of Frank that they could be in trouble here, DCG.
Oh, 665, Charm does connect, doesn't have ult available for himself. What can Cascada do? Not a whole lot. Watch Jimmy in, one more Charm is all it'll take. Maybe not even that, as auto attacks and the Acathian Rain comes down and rains on DCG's parade.
Yeah, and what's your hope of stopping Baron now? So much damage from Eminem in that fight. And a smart play from the carries of Frank, a little bit risky maybe, but you're not expecting them to be 5 at Krugs anyway, so they earn their team a Baron.
Certainly do, and I mean, we always hail Kaiwing for his immaculate engages. That was one of the rare occasions where it made him look like a bit of a clown. Obviously,
Yeah.
it was flash for flash with a carry, so it's not the end of the world, but you committed absolutely everything for that, and it kind of left everyone else straggling.
Yeah, and they get split up by DCG completely here. 665 very aggressively goes on to Eminem, which forces him completely out of the fight now.
Yeah.
So he was unscathed this fight because he didn't get to do all that much. Hits Taco a bit there, but Taco isn't all that phased by it. And Tide maybe doesn't need to walk that close to the Cassante. Jung manages to trade a kill back. You're okay with that as Tide because you get so much more gold.
Yeah.
But the Baron ends up going down.
Yeah, the problem is you're against Baron, you're yet to get that LDR, and you have to get LDR if you ever actually want a real legitimate chance of killing Jung. Of course, that did happen last team fight, but it was a 2v1, both carries on this
For a long
Cassante,
time.
and it lasted so long that Cassante managed to trade one back, so definitely need to look for that LDR. Obviously, Last Whisper is an inventory, but it's the Baron now, should be the talk of the town, as Frank are sieging up these two lanes. Bot lane mini-wave is going to get culled as Jimmy and trying to push out the mid-wave. They aren't going to be synced waves, and here we are. Frank, blessed be Frank, are trying to do their best to try and get them synced. They're not going to be just yet either.
Yeah. Jung eats a lot of CC.
Yeah, Walker's going to come in. He's going to find the grand entrance. The quickness all used at once. And Gemini is finding his way here. Tide going to have to pop that Featherstorm. He's actually traded 1-for-1. It's going to be the jungler of Frank for that top laner there of DCG. So 4v4 as things stand. There is the Ocean Soul still ticking away, making sure that all of Frank are getting healed back up to full. All out not available here for the Cassante. Spirit Rush as well for Jimmy. And those are big, big cooldowns. But the Featherstorm is down. Everything's down here for DCG, especially there. Renekton. It's a 4v4, a very honourable fight, but it's going to be at least Eminem. He gets away with the killer instinct. It's going to be 65 going down, and now inhib mid, inhib bot. It's 4v3. Nice blade caller there from Tide as he's trying to find the damage, but the damage he has is lacking just that little bit. Path making out from Jung. He's going to go backwards to make sure he does survive. And oh my god, Fang! Not even Fang, it's Tide with the blade caller. No LDR, but it doesn't matter. What a fantastic route onto Jimmy and Jang keeps DCG alive in this best of 5.
Yeah, that's not the easiest champ to land a root on Jimmy and gets caught out by the Xayah. 2 inhibs still down for DCG, so they're licking their wounds a bit, but it's 20 seconds on the Elder Dragon, 10 seconds on both the solo laners of Frank. This could just be Elder for DCG.
Yeah, what a throw of all times of this game somehow ends up going to DCG, Tied with a phenomenal fight there, finding somehow the route onto both Jimmian and Jiang to secure that one for themselves. You are dealing with a 3v5 here as Frank, but you have the Kaiser. Gemini's ended up in the pit. They do see him. Wards have come down to spot out this Vi. Not going to make it there in Tide. Tide getting hit though. Teleport now coming through. This is going to be Jiang. Eminem going to pull the trigger, as will Kaiwing, but it's going to be Tide once again as 665 gets the smite. 4v3. Jiang's trying to find the damage. He has the soul popping, but another one for Tide, another one for DCG, and everything's going awry as Gemini comes in, Jimmy comes in, they turn 1, they turn 2, it's gonna be a 3rd, and maybe you got the Elder, but Jimmy is gonna get your Nexus, and Frank, Elder be damned, take the series.
And let's just pretend nothing happened and end the game if we're Frank there. Just clinical clean, we picked up the Elder and we went to their base and ended the game. It was actually DCG who somehow managed to get the Elder, and Taco gets caught out TPing in front of the enemy team. I think he was trying to TP to a lane to push it or something. Yeah, definitely overstayed at the end there. It looked like